I'm going to bring this up. I want to find out if anybody else is familiar with this. But do you remember when we were kids? The only real way to know that we had a bag full of safe treats from trick-or-treating was to take it over to the airport, have it x-rayed. Did you ever do that?
No. No.
Really?
No, my mom. She could tell if anything was poison. She had to test everything I ever had on my plate or bag to see if it was poison.
There's a big difference between testing it and having it x-rayed. Has anybody else heard about this?
No. The airport, you don't do that. That would clog up the airport.
Well, nowadays it would. I mean, could you imagine going through TSA now trying to get your candy x-rayed? But they used to do it back in the day. I'm telling you.
They did not.
Yes, they did.
Where's Andrew? He's our history major.
No, back me up on this, people. If you've ever heard of this, I guarantee you, Stacy, it was a thing back in the day. You could take your candy to the airport. They would x-ray it for you. Make sure there was nothing bad in it.
No, that's not
Razor
true.
blades.
No, can you imagine LAX? Yeah, we're going to x-ray our candy. Come on.
I'm telling you, it was a thing.
Maybe at an airport in a small, tiny city. Maybe. I don't think so. Hi, the Key.
He's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Where did they do this?
At Pasco Airport, I know for sure.
At Pasco Airport?
I told you, Stacy. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
What year was that?
Uh-huh.
So I'm 40. So go back to when I was 11, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Yeah. It used to be the thing back in the day. You could do it.
You go trick-or-treating, and then your parents take you into the airport, you get your thing scanned.
Yeah. They just
That's crazy.
x-ray it right there.
All right.
Thank you very much for backing me up.
It's true. Pasco Airport did it. I'm wrong. I'll admit when I'm wrong.
I don't know why you always think I'm just yanking your chain on stuff. It's true.
Well, I was alive 30 years ago, and I do not remember ever taking my candy to the airport to get it scanned.
Anybody else ever heard of this? 545-9803. You can weigh in on the show this morning. Yeah. If I get a good 5 calls in, then that actually puts me in the right column.
You already proved me wrong. Look at my hands are up.
Surrender.
The white flag.
Uncle. Uncle.
Jeez, wait.
Okay, all right.
Jeez, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I just,
How ridiculous is that? Maybe it was, how many razor blades were actually found in candy?
Honestly, they did a study on this, and there's only been one in the whole wide world. One.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it was enough to freak people out. So, yeah. Now, I don't know if you could actually do it. Do we have anybody that works for the airport listening this morning?
Can't do that. Can you imagine?
What?
TSA. What a nightmare.
Well, it's not like
to have your
everybody
ID
goes in.
and you just don't show up at the airport now. You can't even stop. They tow your car away. Imagine just pulling in there. Hang on, we're just gonna
come on,
get our
Superman,
candy X-rayed.
Batman, everybody get out!
Don't tow my car.
We're just getting our candy X-rayed this morning. Come on!
No, can you imagine?
All right. Well, I just wanted to prove you wrong this morning. I mean, it wasn't my intention, but
you did. One person backed you up, but I'm gonna have Andrew.
I went for 5.
Andrew's
Ask
here.
Andrew; he'll tell you.
I'm gonna have him investigate.
Bergen here. We're gonna revisit this whole X-raying your kids' candy at the airport back in the day. I said it was a thing.
One person called, and one person called and said, "Oh, you could take it to the hospital." No, you didn't.
No, okay, so as soon as I walk in the door, Stacy's like, Andrew, you're late. We needed you. And she explains the scenario, and it's like, no, Jim's not that dumb. Jim is not that stupid to believe that story. And he's like, we had people call in. Okay, so
one person called.
Okay, so let me get this straight.
So the story is
somebody called in.
So the story is, let's do the background in case someone's just tuning in. The background is Jim said back in the day.
Back in the day,
you could take your Halloween candy to the airport and they would X-ray it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, now did someone call in and say they did it, or they also thought that?
Someone said that Pasco Airport used to do it.
Okay.
Someone said this.
Did they do it themselves?
I don't
Because
know.
we can also get someone to call in who agrees that no one ever walked on the moon. Like, those people live in Tri-Cities too. So just because you got someone to call in and say, I also heard something that's totally ridiculous and stupid and I believe it, does not necessarily mean that it's true.
This is your chance, Tri-Cities, to call in 545-9803. Let's
I'm begging you.
Prove these two people negativity balls over here wrong.
I'm begging you. I'm pleading with you. You have to have done it. You have to personally know someone who has done it.
Who took their candy A to an airport or B to the doctor, the hospital.
Any airport.
I'm just going to sit back, sip my coffee, and grin from ear to ear and let the calls ensue.
And the thing is, Andrew, here's what I was thinking. You know, you're going to have a razor blade in your apple, and then no one got apples anymore. I mean, we were talking about this. How many times did poison actually happen in candy or razor blades?
Line 1.
Okay, let's get a caller. Good morning, the Key.
I don't think they walked on the moon either.
What? Are you kidding me?
There never was a man on the moon, was there?
No.
It was a conspiracy.
Did you take your candy through the airport?
No.
She hung up. Okay.
She did not. Hi, the Key. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Actually, my parents took our candy to the hospital.
Okay, did they work at the hospital?
No.
They just showed up at the hospital and they took it through the hospital.
No.
Like, who did
They would take our bags of candy down to the hospital, and the hospital would check it for anything that could be wrong with it.
Now, who paid the copay for that is what I want to know.
What?
Did they just tell you they did this?
It was a free
It's a free service, yes.
Okay, your parents told you they did that, and then they took out the chocolate. That's what really happened.
Oh, jeez.
They did not actually take the candy to the airport because that stuff has to be paid for.
Thanks for calling in this morning. Line 1 is
Your
ringing.
parents just said that. They didn't really do it.
There's no way. There's no way that a hospital was like, yeah, sure.
Bring your candy.
And don't worry about the lead vest either. Just throw the candy on there, push the button. We're doing a community service over here. The HMO doesn't need to know. We got the health of local children at stake here. Phil, you used to work out at the area. Go ahead.
Hi, the Key. Good morning. Hello.
It was years and years ago, but you could.
Yes, you could.
But
it was
did
back
you-
before they worried about charging you for every darn thing in the world.
That's
Would you
right.
do it?
But do you know anybody who did it?
Yeah.
Who?
Several people that lived there, all my neighbors did. We went out to the airport. It's not like it was like they charge you for those when you fly out.
That's right. It was
Those X-ray machines, you just run it through. But it was the year that the razor blades were big in New York, and
What year was that?
glass was in the nerds.
Yeah, you remember
People
that?
were scared, so they
the
did it.
X-ray machine, does it see glass? I guess maybe it
Yes,
does.
it does.
I don't know
What
about
year is
glass,
this?
but
What
I
year are
know
we
it was
talking
just because
It
it
was
was
like
such
in-
a big scare in the communities.
It was in
It was
the
a public service offered.
was this in the 70s?
No, it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
The early 80s?
All right.
Late
Mid
70s?
to late 80s.
Okay.
Mid
perfect.
to late 80s?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Awesome.
See, no.
Thank you
Okay,
very
all
much.
right. Maybe they did.
Okay, because to Stacy's point about like how many times has this happened? When I was in college, there was a big news story out that a British journal, one of them, like it's called the Lancet or something. It was one of the biggest British journals, had a study where someone looked at every public health record ever recorded in the English language. We're talking like Canada, UK, America. We're talking anybody who speaks English. They looked at every single public record, and there was not a single incident of someone putting razor blades in apples or poison in candy at Halloween night to give to strange kids.
To strange kids?
Well, I mean, kids
To strangers.
to strangers.
Like strangers.
Never happened. It's never happened ever.
Wow.
Are you guys, I'm telling you, it used to be a
Well,
thing.
and
it used to be a thing.
Back then, if someone started a rumor, everyone believed it. We didn't have Snopes, right?
Yeah, we didn't have the internet
Hi,
wasn't there.
Vicky.
Yeah,
Good morning.
exactly.
Hello.
Good morning. I'm just calling in on the whole Halloween thing.
Yeah,
when my
go for
kids were little, I'm a mother. Yes, we took it to the hospital in Dayton, and they x-rayed it free.
In Dayton.
Hang on. Let me get back over here and mark another one up on the wall.
Dayton.
Yeah.
Okay, in Dayton. And I said that earlier. Thank you for the phone call. I said maybe some little tiny town somewhere. But I grew up in Orange County, California. You did not take your
Pasco
kid.
wasn't a little itty-bitty town. They
Yeah,
were taking it to the Pasco
35,
airport.
40 years ago, Pasco was a little town. Yes, it was. It was, too.
It doesn't matter how you sugarcoat it. It happened. People were doing it.
I said he was right. I'm wrong. I just can't believe.
Are you convinced yet, Andrew?
I'm thinking it might have been like a single year, like 1 year.
What?
1 year.
One time.
One time.
In Dayton. Population 3,000 or less.
Thanks for all the
saying.
calls.
All right, how many calls did you get? You got 2 calls?
2?
One for Dayton? Was it 3? Did we have 3 calls?
He had 2 for the hospital,
Someone put
2
this thing
for
to
the
bed.
airport. So
One
he had
more
4
call to put this thing to bed.
He got 4 calls.
Okay, one more to put this thing to bed. 5 calls is
But
the
the
going
person
rule.
can't just call and say, "Yeah, they were doing that." You actually had to go there. and
Or like
do
a
it.
Our
relative.
listeners are honest. Come on.
Can't just make it up.
I'm not going to just call and make it up. one more, and I can put this bad boy to bed, and I'm right, Andrew's wrong.
Stacy's surrendering. Stacy's surrendering.
I already surrendered last time.
I'm saying it may have happened 1 year. There was 1 year.
In some little town. It didn't happen in big cities. Are you kidding me?
Yes,
Can you
it
imagine?
did.
Everyone went to LAX with all the Hare Krishnas and had their candy x-rayed.
Now our phones are just blowing up,
Hi,
Andrew.
the key. Good morning.
Yes, my name's Michelle.
Hi.
And I don't know, I think it had to be in the 70s, but I think they were putting like sewing pins, the stick pins in candy, and they were having people be able to go down and run their candy through the x-rays at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go.
Thank
Another
you so
hospital.
much.
Good morning, the key. Hello.
Yes, I grew up in a very small town in northeast Washington, and when I was young, and I would say it was probably early 80s, we took our candy to the hospital and they x-rayed it.
Yeah.
Early 80s.
It's a thing,
Small
man.
town, early 80s. That's
Awesome.
what I said. Okay, there
Thank you
go.
very much.
They didn't do it in big cities. That's why I'm like, I never heard of that.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't. They
Yes,
did it
they
in
did.
small little towns where you.
I
might
haven't
have-
just read this once. I've read it twice. There has this was like there was a span of several years in between. There have been studies. Nobody ever put stuff in candy. There's never been needles in candy. There's never been razor blades in candy. I've read this in like national newspapers about medical, like international journals for medical science. This has never happened.
Okay.
Now you know
Feel
what.
free to call us.
Now,
We're going to take
you
a
know
break.
what I'm
but-
thinking though. Back then too, people were tainting. Remember the Tylenol and
Yes.
all that.
Mhm.
That was early '80s. So there was stuff. People were tampering with things. I
It's
get
true.
it.
They were.
But kids' candy.
Yeah, feel free to call us if you know anything about this X-raying back in the day of the Halloween candy, all right? 545-9803. We'll take some more calls off the air via